Hello, guys. Welcome back if you're not new, and welcome if you're new. So, it's another drawing. No, it's not a drawing, it's another painting video. I've been doing a lot of drawing videos recently because this painting has been taking a very long time compared to the size of it. It's taken as much time as, a larger painting, but it's not a larger painting. It's like kind of medium, smallish canvas size. I can't remember the exact dimensions, but it's not anything crazy. It's actually one of the ones I got for free from my art teacher some time ago. But yeah. Anyway, it started out pretty differently than it ended because I didn't really have a plan. So I thought I would have wanted to do a half body thing, and I kind of did, but I just realized it wouldn't work, and either way I had to start over. Then I figured I wanted to make a more normal face, just a portrait. Like I do a lot. I do a lot of portraits, but I do think for smaller canvases it creates something nice to do portraits in that way, if it makes sense. And I think making half bodies and also portraits on larger canvases is cool. But again, I can really do whatever, so it doesn't really matter. So lots of scribbles, lots of kind of just abstract whatever, and then here I'm starting to refine it a little bit, but that kind of goes down the drain, and then something else comes up, and so on and so forth. So it was a lot of trial and error, and I was getting frustrated with it at the very last part here. Well, not very last part here, but just the very last part of this painting. And my mom, she asked me if I was frustrated because I wanted it to be done and just be like finished, or frustrated because nothing was working. And which was a good question, because some artists would probably be frustrated that it isn't finished yet. But it's not about time. It's just about the feeling that all you do on this painting or drawing or whatever just doesn't work. And I was kind of getting that feeling from this painting for a while, but then something finally clicked and it kind of worked. At least I would say so. But it's a lot of trial and error, and sometimes that's what it's like. Especially if you don't have a very, very clear planned out direction, which can also be boring. I don't like to have this insane, elaborate idea of what I have to do. But other artists love it. I don't, but some do. And, even with that, you can change your mind on a whim, or, something goes wrong, in quotations, because there are no mistakes, only happy little accidents, or whatever Bob Ross says. So yeah, it's kind of been a struggle, but not a huge struggle, just a little struggle, I guess. Yeah, going in there with the palette knife, just filling out some stuff. And I really thought it was gonna be like this, and this was the thing it was gonna be, but it just didn't work out. At least not the way I hoped it would do. But sometimes that's fine, and I think the picture I created is really cool, and it's nice and good. At least I hope you guys think that too, but yeah. Right, I don't think I have more to say about the painting and the process necessarily. I do, there's a lot to show, of course, and I'll be talking about that as it comes up, but I guess I'll tell you about my day. Or my yesterday and today. Yesterday was just working for 10 hours, which is good because I get paid, but I wouldn't say I lose a day, but you just use a lot of your day, working. But it was Sunday and I had nothing to do or anything really, so it was nice, in fact, to spend my time making money. Yeah. And today was actually, Monday, just an average school day. We're still kind of in the first very steps. Yeah, I forgot to record something. I did a lot of stuff, but this didn't work out either, sadly. Yeah, I had a normal day, but we're still like in the beginning of going to school and like starting again, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like we're not really going to school. We're just kind of like, yeah, we don't have any serious assignments or homework or something like that yet. But that's also all right. But we'll get started soon, I guess. That'll be fun. It sounds like it's gonna be fun. We'll see. The further I go into the year, the more I will know if it's actually fun or what it is. So, yeah. I was trying to start with the yellow here on the painting, and it kind of worked. It actually kind of did work, but I ended up kind of going, I would say, a little bit overboard. And that's all right to do sometimes. And that's, sometimes you also got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Just sometimes you got to make sure that you're not doing too much or adding too much of something, especially in the balance of the painting, the white balance, and how light or dark or how much color or how much of one color you can have in a painting before it becomes too much. But it didn't stay yellow for that long. There's still some yellow in it, and I love using yellow because it's such a vibrant color, and especially if I put it on very lightly, it becomes this kind of sickly green, which I rarely use it intentionally, but it has a good, it's a nice color, if that makes sense. Yeah. But I added a bit too much yellow here. At least I think so. And there's really no direction of where the face was starting and ending, and I wouldn't say ruined the picture, but just made it very difficult to see where it was supposed to go. You can see adding a lot of yellow, and this is too much. And you really got to realize when enough is enough, and especially when something is too much. That's important, like really important. Yeah. I also went to the gym today, but after school, because I had to meet for school later, but not that much later. So I just kind of did my thing, chilled out, got some breakfast, and went to school. Didn't eat any lunch, but that's because I ate breakfast really late. And I ate, some eggs when I got home after going to the gym. So I'm pretty filled. I wouldn't say I'm starving. Yeah. It's been a really chill day. And it's been a really chill couple of days, really. And hopefully it will be a kind of chill year, I guess. And here's where I go kind of to a place you can't go back from. I added way too much Titan buff here, so it becomes way too light. And it worked a little bit, but it just didn't work that much. Again, it's kind of weird. But yeah. You can probably already see that I'm building up the painting as it begins to look more like the version we see in the end. But that's how, the story goes. Yeah. I don't really have any plans today. So, I had to make this video, which I'm, doing right now, as you can probably hear if you've watched this far. But I do believe that I have nothing to do at all. I don't have no homework or I don't have to work. One of my friends, she also works at the same place I do, and she asked me, "Can you take my shift?" I was like, "I'm very sorry, I can't." Mostly because I didn't want to, because I worked the whole weekend off. So it's like yeah, I didn't really want to be honest. And especially because I've taken a lot of shifts from her before, so it's not like I'm never taking shifts. Like I'm probably one of the ones in at my workplace who takes the most shifts. But that's because I want to work and make money. But I also want to be able to have a life in a way. So I don't really want to work myself away completely. Especially when I just used my whole weekend on working myself half to death. And it wouldn't be a problem if I didn't have like 10 hours yesterday. But since I had 10 hours yesterday, I was like, yeah, it's not like I need it. Because when you work two shifts in one day, it's basically like working two separate days. But it also like matters what type of shifts it is. And yeah, either way, it's working. Working doesn't suck, but it's not great either. I would much rather be painting. And yes, I did this. I don't really know how we got from that to this, but I'm yeah trying to fix it, doing whatever. It's it's kind of a long story, and it is not. Um, but yeah, and sometimes stuff like this happens. You just kind of just mess up something, and I was really sad that I didn't record me doing it, but I just ended the recording and went up and be like, oh, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And then I just went down, forgot to hit the record button. I didn't even put up my phone before this clip, but I just destroyed it, kind of. At least I destroyed most of it, and I changed it. And that's not a problem necessarily. It was actually really good for the painting. And there's some elements here I do like. I like that the background is, that type of black, just a really deep saturated black. And the mouth actually stays closely. The teeth stay nearly the same color. And the mouth doesn't change shape that much. A little bit, but not too much. Putting in more color, more white, more black, just a bit more of everything. I think this is some. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. But it's kind of a mess right now. And the only way I thought I could to kind of fix this mess is a lot of red and just using a spartle and going crazy. And it worked. It worked wonderfully for some reason. I don't really know, but this is one of the best things I ever did for this painting. At least in the terms of wanting it to work and wanting to make it cool instead of having to start over. But I basically started over like 16 times or something because I just painted over so much of it and changed it so drastically so it could basically be a new painting. But yeah, the red color here really did wonders. Also wonders for my imagination to think of like, okay, what can I do with this? Where can we go from here? And I kind of figured it out right after the red color was applied. I kind of got the idea. I mean, like, yeah, okay, so it's this I want to do, if that makes sense. They're farming a whole lot outside. Like, the weather's great, and the forecast says it's supposed to be great for the next, couple of weeks, which is nice, but also really nice for the farmers because they're getting paid because they're farming and their crops are like, to be harvested. And I forgot to record again because I'm stupid, but yeah, you gotta live with it. I put down a lot of Titan buff and some black and some red, and I did something, and I think it's great. I would say I took a pretty mediocre picture and made it pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's my best work in the world, but there's definitely elements I like and I'll do again, and elements I have done 1,000 times. But yeah, doing the simple work, adding some black. And I really began to just use straight from the tube if it's kind of a darker color, where even if it mixes, like, you don't really realize it because it kind of eats and absorbs everything else. Yeah. But it's just slow work. Just working it in, chilling, doing stuff. And we're kind of getting very closer to the end here, at least compared to before. And you can kind of feel it, at least I can. There's just this point where I look at a painting and I'm being like, okay, it's not done yet, but it's very close to being done. And I think that does a lot. Just the feeling of being close to being finished with a painting or a drawing is great. It's almost as great as the looking at the finished art for the first time ever. There's something magical about it. But I'm just kind of connecting the mouth and this negative space. It becomes more weird. That's also something something I'm working on, to making my art more weird in a way. Not forcing weird and being like, oh, I do this because it's weird. My art is pretty weird though, but hope you get my point, that I'm trying to do, stuff I wouldn't necessarily, have done before. So just keep evolving and changing and getting better and just creating, really. It's the most important thing, just to create. Yeah. But you can see this was also a really long clip. I think the original clip is like half an hour long or something. I'm not sure though, but it's like, not half an hour, but like 20 minutes, if not more. It's a really long clip. But I also did a lot here. That's kind of because I got to that last, hour stage. It really does. It does a lot for your motivations. At least for me, it did. I was really motivated right here to just get to painting, just creating, just doing something. And I did this on Friday. I think the painting has technically been finished since Sunday, but I didn't have time to do the voiceover on Sunday, or let alone time to make a video in general or do anything other than waking up, working, chilling for 2 hours, working some more, and go home and sleep. So yeah, I didn't really have that much time, but that's okay. Yeah, I added a little bit of yellow because, as you can see in the top of the head, there's small margins of yellow peeking through, and I actually really liked that, and I wanted it over everywhere on the painting, and I think it did a lot for it. It's another color, and it's more contrast with the deep dark black. Kind of makes the character look like it's lighted up in a way. And then I did these very cool eyes, but I ended up changing them and going back to them just to see, like, I always try different eyes and different noses and go through some stuff just to be sure, because it's very rarely that I'm sure it has to be this or that or anything in particular. But you get my point. Okay, guys, girls, boys, everybody's. It's finally finished. If you can hear some rumbling like an engine going in the background, that's because my neighbors, they're farming because they're farmers. So yeah, and they've been doing that since the early morning and late night, so they're going hard. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. It's the painting. Yeah, I struggled a whole lot with this painting. I did really struggle because there wasn't anything that worked. The sketch was too big and bad, and other stuff just didn't, feel great. And I finally did the teeth here, which I liked, and started building up some values, some crazy, the ear, it's filled out. But that's because the canvas is so small. It's not that small again, but I just made the face kind of too big to where it would be easy to kind of like plot out. But I also like it a lot because it, is unique. It has this like filled in. It's like it's a portrait of a scary face. Just a person. I don't know. I don't make the rules. I just make it. But it looks awesome. Can we zoom in? No, I'm not gonna zoom in. That would be really weird on the video. But of course, you've seen the thumbnail, so you know what it looks like. But yeah, it's awesome. I think there's elements I like, and I'll repeat. Especially something I've gotten very happy about is like negative space that kind of connects into the face, like this. I really like this. I didn't do anything more up here because I thought it would be too much. It would be too much like this piece. As you can see, it has like negative space here and there. More, but this is different from this. And to be honest, they're the same size, but I like this one more than this one. They're both good and they're very similar, but there's just a few elements that, in my opinion, work better with this one than that one. But they're both great. Yeah, they're just outside my house right now with the tractors and the farming machines. Anyway, yeah. So this is the piece. I'm really proud of it, and I hope you like it too. Hope you liked the video. And if you did, please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff, because I really appreciate every time you do. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Well.